Hello, students. Today we will start our next lesson of physics, chapter number 3, Physical Quantities and Measurement. It is in page number 17 of our Ratna Sagar book. Now, this is a chapter which you are doing in mathematics since your class 2 or 3 level. It's just the theoretical part of it, definition and all the units which you use. So this is not an unknown lesson to you. This is a very known lesson to you. Now, what are physical quantities? Of now and then, often we speak of physical quantity, right? But what are physical quantities? Physical quantities are those quantities which we can measure, right? Like, volume of a milk bottle, then the distance between your school and your home, then the weight of your body, and then temperature of your body, area of the room where you are sitting right now, then mass of the phone which you are holding in your hand. So these are all physical quantities. You can measure them. Now, physical quantities are of two types: fundamental physical quantities and derived physical quantities. Fundamental physical quantities are those quantities which are not dependent on any other quantity. They exist singly, they exist independently, like length, unit is meter, mass, unit is kilogram, time, unit is second, temperature, unit is Kelvin. So they singly exist. They don't need other units to be combined while expressing them, right? And the second type of physical quantity is derived physical quantity, which is derived from the fundamental quantities. It is combination of various fundamental quantities. For example, you take the area. You take the area of a rectangular room. How will you calculate it? It is written as length into breadth. Or how will you measure the volume of a three-dimensional box? It is length into breadth into height. So this is all these. Length is a fundamental quantity expressed in meter. Breadth is another fundamental quantity expressed in meter. Height is another fundamental quantity. So we combine them to get area and volumes. These are dependent on length, breadth and height. So area and volume are considered to be derived physical quantity, that is derived from the fundamental physical quantities. Now we move on to measuring a physical quantity. How do we measure physical quantities? To measure a quantity, suppose you have got a glass of milk in your hand. How would you measure how much milk is there in the glass? For that, you need to compare the amount inside the glass with some similar type of material of same quantity. Then only you can measure them. You can see how many times of the known quantity is the unknown quantity, right? So there should be a standard against which, comparing which, you will measure the unknown quantity or the physical quantity of the thing which is unknown to you, whose quantity is unknown to you. Now, in traditional units, that is in ancient times, especially the Babylonian people and the Greeks, what they used to do is they used to use their hands, foot, fingers in calculating the or measuring the physical quantities. For example, a cubit. What is a cubit? A cubit is the length of an adult person from forearm, that is, from the forearm to the tip of the middle finger. Is this one. From the forearm to the tip of the middle finger. That is what is a cubit. Similarly, a handspan. What is a handspan? Handspan is the length of the tip of the thumb. Tip of the thumb. This one, from there to the tip of the little finger. This one. This entire length is a handspan. A handspan. And 1 foot is measurement of the foot of one person. Alright, so this is the way they used to measure. However, now consider I want to measure 1 foot. This is my foot. And Momo wants to measure 1 foot. This is Momo's 1 foot. So you just see, are the measurement of my foot equal to measurement of Momo's foot? No. Similarly, suppose my handspan and a little baby's handspan. You see, is it same length? So, it was not standard. It varied from person to person. So, if the measurements are not accurate, that was not possible to use that measurement for scientific researches, because scientific researches required accurate calculations. So came into picture standardized units. The standardized units were meter, kilometer, second, Kelvin for temperature. So there were initially two standardized systems. First one came the metric system. In metric system, the mass was expressed in grams. The length was expressed in meter, and the time was not time exactly specified. The volume was expressed in liter. This was metric system. And then another system was MK system and CGS system. MKs is meter, kilogram, seconds. They used meter for mass, meter for length, kilogram for mass, seconds for time. And in CGS system, they use centimeter for length, gram for mass, and seconds for time. Alright? So, after this, in 1960, this MK system was very famous during 20th century. This was more popular than CGS system. However, in 1960, towards 1960s, people started getting confused because of existence of these two different systems. One MK system, another one is CGS system. So that involved lot of interconversion, like converting meter into centimeter, centimeter into meter, kilogram into gram, gram into kilogram. So lot of conversions were required, because for that they started urging for one universal system. one universal system, and then came into picture the creation of SI system in 1960. Right? Now, students, in SI system, you will see in page number 19, you have got a chart for SI system. For that, you will have to learn. For length in SI system, they used meter. For length, they used meter. For mass, they used kg. For time, they use seconds. For luminous intensity, to find the intensity of light, they used candela or CD. For temperature, they used Kelvin. For electricity, current electricity, they used ampere, and various others. If you look into the chart 3.1 in your book, you would be able to know it. And the multiples, and for the multiples and submultiple units, you have already done in maths. For length, how to convert, from centimeter to meter, millimeter, then millimeter to centimeter, meter to centimeter, kilometer to meter. When you go from smaller unit to higher unit, you need to know, you need to divide, and from higher unit to smaller unit, you need to multiply. So here is a chart. I will send this chart to you for your help regarding the FPS system, seizure system, and NCASE system. So you can go through this chart thoroughly and understand the various types of units in various systems, but various guidelines you will have to follow. Like, suppose if I want to write meter, I will never write it in the way like this. This is a wrong way of writing. This is the correct way of writing. If a unit is derived from the name of a person, its name is always written in small letter, like the unit of energy, that is joule. So it has come from a name of a scientist, so it is not written with capital J but small g. A symbol of unit is normally written in small letters. Yes, if I want to write meter, I will write small m, not capital M. And then if the symbol of a unit is derived from the name of a person, it is written in capital M. Yes, if I want to write the unit joule, this is derived from the name of a person, name of a scientist, here I would not use small g. I would always write 1000 J, capital J, not small g. Alright? And if a symbol derived from the name of a person has more than one letter, the first letter of the symbol is capitalized. Yes, there is a unit of pressure, that is Pascal. Here we have got two alphabets used here. So one is in capital letter and another one is in small letter. Next, prefix names are written in small letters until they occur at the beginning of a sentence. No space or hyphen is used between the prefix and the unit name. So a prefix name and a unit name are taken together as a single word. Like we have got milligram. It is never written, it is always written as mg. It is never written as milli separately, gram separately. It is a single word. Okay. Then prefix symbols are attached to unit symbols without any space between them. Prefix symbols up to the kilo level are written in small letters, but the ones with larger values are written in capital letter. Like if I want to write milligram, I will write it mg. But more than kilogram, if I want to write kilogram, I will write it as kg. But if I want to write it more than kilogram, that is megawatt, unit of power, megawatt. Kilowatt, if I want to write kilowatt, I will write as like this, small k and w. But if I want to write megawatt, which is more than kilowatt, I will write it capital M and capital W. Alright. Next, the plural form is used only when the unit is written in full. Symbols of units are never written in plural with s is not added to the symbol of a unit. Like if I want to write 10 meter, if I write it in words, I will write it as meters. However, if I write only the smaller form of the unit, I will never write it as MTS. No, I will simply write it as 10 meter, M. And the last one, a full stop is never put at the end of a unit symbol unless it occurs at the end of a sentence. So, I will never write it like 50 cm dot. No. 50 cm dot long. It is wrong. I will simply write it full 50 centimeter. It is the unit. I will not put a dot. It is not an abbreviation. It is unit. Long without full stop. So these are the basic guidelines of using SI unit, which you need to remember. You need to remember for true, false, fill in the blanks purpose, not to write it in the rule form. Nobody will ask you write 5 rules of or guidelines of using SI unit, but they will ask you we write milligram in this way, M and capital G. Is it true or false? So I will write it as false. So these are the basic questions you will get from this particular table number 3.3, guidelines and you writing SI units correctly. So that's it for the day. Divide the question answers into 2 modules. Module 1 from question number 1 to 20 and module 2 from question number 21 to 40. And send it to me today half and module 2 tomorrow. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.